All right. So does everybody have the packet and the worksheet? Oh, okay. I'll come over and collect that from you in just a moment. So, folks, what you're going to do right now is, oh, do you mind just holding off on the writing? So, Jonas, sorry. So, what you're going to do right now is this is the 2023 AP Statistics exam, question number 2 for the free response. So, you're going to read the question and then just do part A and part B. There's a part C, but we won't have enough time for part C. So right now, I'm going to set a timer for about 8 minutes. Go ahead and do the free response question, right? So typically, you want to spend on average 13 minutes per free response question, but because we're doing roughly 2/3 of it, I'm only going to set a timer for 8 minutes. All right. So go ahead, begin. I'll put the timer up on the board. All right. And go ahead and start. And I'm going to hit the lights if that's okay, just so they can see it better. I'll collect this. Thank you. Oh, well, do you mind doing me a favor? Could you just move to, yeah, yeah, just so they could see me in the frame with you. Thanks. And just to relax your minds a little bit, I'm not putting this in the grade book. All right, about 2 minutes left. All right, folks, 1 more minute. All right, so folks, go ahead, stop writing. All right, so here's what you're going to do. Um, so everybody should have, whoops. So everybody should have the answer key in front of them. All right, so let me explain how this answer key works. So does everybody have the answer key? It's the packet that I gave you. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to grade your own free response. All right. I want you folks to get familiar with the problem, doing the problem, and then be familiar with how the AP reader is going to score your response. Right. And as you can see, if you take a look at the first page of the packet, there's a lot of details as to how they're going to score your responses. All right. So do you folks remember the EPIs when you did your free response questions? There's like the EPI like to the left of the problem. So how they score it is they do put your free response on a numeric scale, but what they do for each part of the problem is they give it an EPI, which is essentially correct, partially correct, or incorrect. So if you take a look at the answer key for part A with the experimental units, the treatments, and the response variable, essentially if you hit all three components, right, you should get full credit or essentially correct. So you want to give yourself an E. So E is actually a good thing, right? It's not like your report card where if you get an E, you fail. Here, an E is a good thing. If your response only meets two of these three components, right, that means you give yourself a P. And if it only meets one or zero of these three components, give yourself an I. And before you folks grade, you might have had some slightly different responses because there is some subjectivity to writing these responses out. So the additional notes will address some of that subjectivity. And if you still have questions as to whether or not this question deserves an E, a P, or an I, just let me know. So I'm going to set a timer for, let's say, 3 minutes, right? So you're going to grade your own free response question, and you're grading part A and part B. And if you need more time, just let me know. Right, Lawrence, you need help? Yes, you're grading your paper. Yeah, folks, you're grading your own paper. We'll talk about the other papers in just a moment. Right now, you're just grading your own paper. Yes. I would give full credit for this. Yeah. So concrete with the fibers and a concrete without the fiber.
When you say two-digit numbers, when you talk about the randoms.
No, if unless you're using a random digits table, yeah,
I have a quick question.
sure.
So the rest of the packet, are those other ways of writing it, or are those the error, the ones with?
Those are sample student responses from the 2023 exam. So
should be fixing, or is that something different?
We'll talk about that later. I know you have to go,
Yeah.
but it's more along the lines of like, how would you score those students?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Problem. Sure. Yeah. So again, folks, you're only giving yourselves an E, P, or an I for part A and part B. All right. You don't need to do anything else other than just that. Yes. Yeah, the random digits table is okay. Any type of like random method that you could come up with should be appropriate. Like here, I'll show you on the answer key for the back. So this is part B, and here they'll give you some additional examples that are okay. All right, do you folks need more time? Okay, so let me. All right, so what you're going to do now is now that you're familiar with doing the problem, now that you're familiar with like just the grading process of the problem, can you folks get together either as partners or groups of no more than three? So, and I know, Jonah, you might be a little bit, you could probably stay where you are. But for the rest of you folks, can you get together with somebody else, either as partners or groups of three? All right, so go ahead and move if you don't mind. All right. So now what you're going to do is, do you folks see the, um, so take a look at the student responses, right? So it should be, okay, yeah. So folks, there's gonna be 3 student responses attached to the packet. So there's student A, where it says sample 2A, sample 2B, and sample 2C. So A, B, and C are 3 different students. So what you want to do is you want to discuss with your partners, like, does this student deserve an E, P, or an I for part A, and E, P, and I for part B? And you want to do that for all 3 students. So I think maybe 6 minutes per student, 2 minutes per student, 6 minutes total should be enough. If you folks need more time, just let me know. But does everybody know what they're doing right now? All right. So again, you're grading somebody else's work based off of the scoring rubric. And if you have any questions, just let me know. But I'll be circulating around just in case you folks have questions.
I think the B is fusion because it has a preliminary 30 thing, which they don't like. It said that in the additional notes that don't follow it. It's the remaining 30 drivers. In the bottom of it when it doesn't satisfy the first.
Right. You doing okay? I guess if maybe you could work with Chloe. Yeah. Just so you could have somebody to discuss it with. Right. Thanks, Chloe. All right. Are you 3 doing okay?
I think it's probably fine. I think A, that's
Right. Do you 3 have any questions or?
because it's not that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think they're both. What did you say for this? Was I taking home to meet
Yes. Yeah.
So this guy assign each driveway at first, but it suddenly changed to houses.
Yeah. So each house will have a driveway. So that should be fine.
Oh, that should be. Oh,
Yeah. I think that should be fine. Yeah, because on the AP exam, they're not going to be like that picky about it. Because we all know that they're talking about the driveways. Because every house will have a driveway, so
Oh,
it should be fine.
okay.
I don't think this one works because it doesn't say, it doesn't specify the.
It doesn't.
Well, I guess it says how many, but it just kind of.
It doesn't specify that you ignore repeats.
Yeah, it's also true.
All right. Are you 2 doing okay?
Maybe P or maybe I.
All right. Are you 2 okay?
Yeah.
I think it says you don't need to add that.
About like
Says-
replacement. Does that have to be in the response?
Yeah, so we haven't talked about replacement yet. So I would say don't worry about that aspect. So if they didn't include it, I would say that's fine. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
A and B, I think, are both.
Yeah.
So if they abbreviate, do we take them off, or is that
I think abbreviations, it depends on how they like with,
yeah?
I would say that's fine. Yeah. It's not an English class, so I think that's fine.
Because I think you said that you can't abbreviate.
I would say this, if you're abbreviating, like, do you remember SRS?
Yeah.
So if you're abbreviating, make sure you identify what that abbreviation means first. Like it means simple random sample, not stratified random sample.
If you use like if you use V/C,
Because I think that's fine. But for like specific vocabulary words, if you're going to use abbreviations, I think it helps if you tell the reader first, especially if you're using the word multiple times, identify it first, what it means, and then you could use the abbreviation later on in your writing. All right, so folks, about another minute and a half. All right. So it looks like some of you folks are still working. So remember, you're doing this for all three students, student A, B, and C. You can't read it?
like this. So
I think, no, I can read it. Yeah. No, I actually think it's much neater than what I've seen from, other people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, folks, another 30 seconds. Does anybody need more time? Okay, so here, let me close this. All right, so what do you folks think for, and you folks can just yell it out. So let's take a look at student A. All right, so for part A, student A, what do you folks give that student? E, yeah. So that's what the grader also gave that student. What about for part B? Yeah, and so that's also what the grader gave that student. So let's take a look at part for student B. So for student B for part A, what do you folks give that student? E, yeah. So that's also what they gave that student. And then what about for part B? Yeah, so that's also what they gave that student. And let's take a look for student C. Where is it? Oh, here it goes. Is this student C? Yeah. So what about for part A? E. So they also gave that student an E. And what about for part B? Yeah, so that's also what they gave that student. So you folks are pretty much right on the money in regards to how like the AP grader would grade these students. So do you folks have any questions about this? Any concerns? All right. So the reason why I wanted to go over this on Rocket Refresh was mostly because I wanted you folks to see how your papers are going to be graded. That way you could like see how I tend to grade your papers. I try to model their grading policies like as close as possible. So if you see me being picky at times, that's going to be the reason why. Now, one thing I do want to mention is for part B on the free response, there's a number of different ways you can do like the random assignment, but you'll notice for the answer key that they took points off if you use a coin for random assignment. Do you folks see why they would take points off? All right, so that was something that we had talked about before, where if you don't have like a guaranteed possibility of like um, 30 for the control group and 30 for the treatment group, that's going to be an issue, and that's where they're going to take off points. But any other type of random assignment that you can think of, I think they talked about like using white and black marbles, I believe. You could use the hat method, the random number generator method, or the random digits table. So as long as your random assignment process is valid, you're going to receive full credit. All right. So any questions, concerns? Okay, so that's pretty much it. So let me stop this.